How's it going, guys? It's GamePan here. Welcome back to a brand new video. So for today's video, I kind of wanted to do something different where usually most of my videos are all about like the mid-ish tier to high tier trading. And I know a lot of you guys kind of can't really afford to get like a mid-tier unusual or something that expensive with trading wise. And I know a lot of you have low tiers and you're trying to trade low tiers and you haven't got a lot of advice around there to like help you trade up. So for today's video, I kind of wanted to make like a sort of like low tier unusual trading guide for you guys. Like I know I've made a trading guide, but I want to do like specifically for the low tier sort of side of it. So let's crack on with today's video. Before I continue with the video, I just want to say to you guys, if you can just do me one really small favor and just click that subscribe button, that would mean a lot to me because we're getting very close to 2,000 subscribers. We've gained around 100 within a week, which is really amazing. And we're like halfway to like 2,000. We're at 1,500 when this video is out, around that area. So if you guys can just do one quick favor and just click the subscribe button, that would mean the world to me. So let's crack on with the video. So you're trying to get into TF2 trading and it's kind of like you're unsure how to go, where to start, what's the best routes to take for unusual trading, or if you're like getting close to unusual trading but you're not even sure yet, this will be quite the video for you. So I'm going to give a bunch of different tips. Now some of these tips might not be as successful as you might think they might be because sometimes it kind of depends on the right person you trade with and like what items you have as well, because sometimes it can really be easy, hard, average, and it depends on how patient and firm you can be with trades as well. So let's start with the first one. So this is kind of like the normal like classic way of like making profit with trading. Now basically quick sales. Now the way this sort of works is that you're looking to buy a quick sell of your pure keys, and if you're wondering what quick sell means, quick sell is where somebody's trying to sell their unusual quickly. It kind of makes sense in the name, but like they're trying to like sell their unusual for like a really good discount. It's like a quick sort of like discount than like just saying discounted in trades, because sometimes people discount their unusuals and that isn't really a quick sell. So you have to like see how much they're selling their item for. So basically what is a good idea is that checking the price of the item and then seeing how much keys cheaper it is from a quick sell price. Now basically, for example, say if someone's got like a 18 key unusual and they're quick selling it for like 11 keys, then you'd probably go ahead and take that one, right? Because sometimes it's like, oh, that's like a 7 key discount, that's like a really good deal for a low tier trade, and I must take that. But actually in reality that's actually kind of like a risk, because basically with a lot of unusuals nowadays, especially due to the Great Depression which hit the market, low tier trade has been sort of like a difficult one where it's like you're not sure what's a good hat, what's not a good hat, what's a good hat to trade. You're not really sure really. So basically, I'm going to show you right now. So I'm going to show you in the link description for an example. Now basically, I'm going to click this button right here called the stats. Now when you click the stats button, it kind of shows you the history of the hat and like what it's been priced in the past. So if you scroll down, you're going to see when it was priced, what date it was priced, and like how long ago it was priced. Now usually if it's like over a couple months ago, that means it's quite outdated where it might need a new price. Now it doesn't mean it's going to be like overpriced or like inflated or like, you know, it could still be like how much it would be now, but it's like sometimes prices aren't like as stable as you would think they would be. So my second idea, which I would recommend you guys to do, is to check the sellers. Now sellers kind of depends really, because a lot of them have like had their hat unlisted for like months where they haven't really been selling it and like no one's been buying it because maybe they just want pure keys, or like they just have bad luck with like trying to trade their unusual, or they just like forgot about it like some people have. But yeah, it's kind of hard really, because sometimes you see an unusual and it's like it might look pretty good but you're not really sure if it is, and usually that is very difficult. But what I do really recommend you do is say if you're buying an unusual for a quick sell price, I would really recommend that you look at buy orders. Now basically this happens to most people now, so they buy an unusual for buy orders price where they like see how much of people are buying the hat for. And what I would really recommend, which most people do, which is kind of like a risk but you still got a good chance of making profit, is trying to buy an unusual for near buy orders price. Now usually for most people they kind of buy an unusual just above bot's price and buyer's price. Now usually that means that you're probably paying like the best than what anyone else would pay, and like most people probably would just sell it to a bot. But if you're trying to offer around the same price that bots pay, they might likely take it. It kind of really depends on the person, but usually I recommend if you're trying to buy quick sales, try and like buy them around buy orders price, depending on the low tier. But that's what I really recommend for low tiers. And then what I would recommend after that is after you buy the hat, try and list it probably like backpack price, but then if you're trying to quick sell and just get pure only, just try and sell it for a bit more than what you paid for it. Like, it's still like you're basically technically quick selling as well, but like you're trying to get profit at the same time. So what I recommend, maybe trying to quick sell it for like 2 keys more than what you paid for it, or even a key more. Like, no matter how much profit you make, even if you make like a refined profit or like 5 refined profit, you're still making profit at the end of the day, and that adds up over time. So that's why I really would recommend, like, try and sell and like buy near buy orders price, but just don't try and lowball if you can. But that's what most people do, so that's quite a strong one I recommend for you guys. With brand new effects, most of them are probably like unpriced or they haven't got price suggestion, and so it's kind of difficult to know how much it's going to be worth. Now, a lot of people do trade unpriced hats, but it kind of depends how experienced you are with the tier marking of like what you like, what tier it is, and like what effect it is, and like how much you'd price it at. Because with different like unusual effects, they have different tiers with a higher tier than another. So if you guys wanted me to do a like tier list of like what's the best and worst effects for the new winter 2019, I will try and do one as soon as possible. But usually I would really recommend you don't go for the new effects, because most people don't really want them and not really, kind of difficult to trade with. Now, it's entirely up to you though, because you've got a chance of making profit, but usually it depends on what like what hat is, for example, the effect. But I wouldn't really buy a quick sell for a new unusual effect, because usually they're not really like a quick sell if they haven't really got a price. So I wouldn't really recommend you like stick to new effects, but once they get priced, maybe go near them. But it depends on the offer really. But I'll try and make a tier list with the brand new effects, because it's kind of difficult with the new effects, because they've all got like different prices, and a lot of them have been like unboxed a lot, so it's hard to price them. So I will try and make a video about that. But for new effects, just try and stay away from them. But you've always got like a chance of making profit with them. It kind of depends really, but depends on the offer. But I would recommend from low tier trading that you do try and stay away from them. So this one's kind of easier, it's going to be a quick one. So basically, with unusual taunts, most people do not want them, because there's so many unboxed now, more than hats I'm pretty sure now, and taunts aren't really that valuable anymore. They used to be really expensive back in my times of trading, but like roughly they're about like 5 to 10 keys depending on the taunt, of course. But usually if you're going to be trading from like maybe like 2 to 10 keys around that area, then I would recommend you stick to it, like taunts and like buying taunts, because you can make profit off taunts, but it kind of depends what people want. But if you're starting low tier trading from like above 12 to 10 keys, then I wouldn't really go near taunts at all, because they're kind of hard to deal with, and like they take forever to sell, and you don't really want to stick with something that takes ages to trade. So what I would really recommend is that if you're starting unusual trading from like as low as like 2 keys to like 10 keys, or even lower than 2 keys, then yes, I would recommend you do unusual trading but with taunts. But if you've got like items roughly about 10 plus keys, then definitely I wouldn't recommend sticking their taunts. But it's entirely up to you, but that's just my opinion, because no one really wants taunts and they're very hard to trade with. So basically, Australiums are basically pure keys. Now, I wouldn't recommend like checking backpack price for Australiums and pricing that at pure price, because Australiums can really like inflate and like deflate. So I recommend you checking sellers and like buyers, because buyers always pay around the price that sellers are paying for them. So you can do Australian trade and like stick to that and make profit. But what most people do with that is like they buy an unusual, like set like a buy order price, and then someone sends a trade offer to you for their Australian for pure, you accept the offer and you just resell it for higher, and then someone else buys it off you, and you keep that loop going, and then maybe get some other Australians and then try and make profit from there, where like you're trying to like sell it for like higher than what you paid for it, and then that's basically that. So it kind of depends really, but Australians are pretty good. If you get offered Australians, that's quite good. I would recommend you take them, but it depends on how much you can offer as well. But like, it's not just Australians. There's also Max's Severed Head, which is like that sells for roughly pure as well for like its price, and there's some other items as well. So I recommend you like check the items as well you get offered, because sometimes it's not really a bad deal. Like if you get offered like spells, I don't think they're really worth taking, because spells are really hard to trade, and If you have something like an Australian which is like pure, then it's kind of like an easy take because it's just pure basically, you know, like they're not really hard to trade with. You can easily get pure keys for them, and they're quite a good deal to take. So I'd recommend trying to get like, if you get offered like an Australian or like items like around like a max's head or something, then I recommend you take them. But just check the price of it and how much it's going for, because you don't want to like accidentally sell your unusual for like a lot less than what you really think it would be worth. So when you're being firm, it's kind of like you're trying to get like pure only or like a lot in overpay, but mostly pure. Now, basically, when you get offered an item, they might try and like haggle you and try to make you pay like less than what you want for it. Now, I recommend you checking what their offer is, because sometimes even that if you're trying to get pure only or like a lot of overpay, they might offer you an item that might be better than yours. So I recommend you like look into depth for that, like how much people are selling it for, buy orders are paying for it, the stats button, which will tell you guys to check. And yeah, like sometimes I know you can be firm, but sometimes you might get a really decent offer where you might want to take it. So I would really look into like how much their item is and what it's worth, because even though they might be haggling you, you might be getting a good deal out of it as well. So you're wanting pure or overpay. Now it kind of really depends, because you might get offered pure and that's good, but sometimes when you get offered like unusual overpay, you really need to check their item, because sometimes their item might be overpriced, inflated, outdated, and you might be getting a bad deal. So I recommend you check how much the item is worth, and if buy orders are paying more and like people are selling it for more, it might be a good deal, but obviously check the price suggestion as well, because there might be a suggestion for it to drop lower. So I really recommend you check how much they're selling it for and what a lot of people are as well, because you might be getting a bad deal, but sometimes you might be getting a decent offer as well. So I recommend you check the stats on that as well by pressing the stats button, and that's that. So that's majority of my tips for you guys for low tier trading, because sometimes it can be good, but sometimes it can be difficult. So just follow some of these steps I've told you, because they're quite the main way of trading. Sorry for the background noise for the seagulls. So that's going to be the end of the video. So once again, thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, and peace.
Overpay, get it back, yeah, this money coming